name's Matthew Leach. I'm from Denton, Texas, and I went to school at the University of Texas in Austin. Hook 'em horns. And when I was a sophomore in college, I was in a fraternity, Tau Kappa Epsilon, TKE, and I ended up going to South Padre Island for my first big college spring break trip with my fraternity. And as one does, I was expected to do in South Padre Island, I got really drunk one night and ended up telling my friends that I was going to some street in Austin, which obviously I wasn't doing in South Padre, and they just let me walk off, which kind of sucks. I ended up getting arrested for public intoxication because I was stumbling down the street, and ended up spending the night in a drunk tank with a bunch of other drunk college kids. It was really rough. The next day, waking up and having to pay a really high fee, and first time I'd ever gotten in trouble like that, and it just felt really bad about my life, and it just was a wake-up call almost. As I'm walking out, a van is driving by and they stop and they ask if I want to ride, and of course I want to ride because I don't know where I'm going. And they end up being a group from UT Austin called the Wesley. It's like a Methodist youth group at UT, and they go to South Padre every year to give free rides to drunk college students in an effort to evangelize more or less through just actions, and they ended up praying for me in the van because I told them how I was feeling, and they got me free pancakes, which was awesome. And so I ended up going back to UT Austin and joining this group. About 3 months into it, I ended up coming out more or less to my discipleship group, which is a group of 6 or 7 guys that meet once a week to really share their struggles and how it relates to their faith. And I just told them flat out I'm been struggling for this since I can remember, of my homosexuality, and I feel like it's come to the point where I need help in terms of fixing it, or not being gay. They were all really understanding. What was interesting though is that 2 other guys within the group had experienced similar struggles with it, and what ended up happening after that is we would all kind of become each other's accountability partners, helping each other kind of move past it, or just become straight. And the way we would do that is, I had one of my accountability partners, I would have him receive URL links every time I, saw porn online or something. And so he would receive the link to see what I was doing online if it was bad. So that it was that kind of stuff that helped try to help us move away from any kind of sinful activity like watching porn. I ended up going home for Christmas probably 6 months later, and my mom could tell something was wrong. I just wasn't myself. And one night we were sitting in the living room, and she just asked me what was going on in my life, because she knew I had come out as gay, so it was easier to have this conversation with her. But essentially, I just told her that I really wanted that intimate relationship with God, and I wanted to pursue that faith. My mom essentially was stop, don't struggle with something you can't control. I've known you were this way since a little kid, and there was no place and time that affected you to become gay. You were born that way. God made you this way. It was life-changing. It was just a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and just relieved that I could finally have some peace of mind, and know that if I can still pursue that faith and have that relationship with God while still being gay. And I think my mom just reaffirmed that. That was the point where I finally accepted my homosexuality, and it was great.